Across the agrarian landscapes of Odisha, millions of tons of crop residue and livestock waste are left out in the open. But viewing this material as agricultural refuse misreads its value. Trapped within these organic bonds is a potent, untapped energy asset. Leaving this resource stranded creates a compounding ecological crisis. As livestock waste decomposes on the ground, it vents methane directly into the atmosphere. Simultaneously, the narrow harvest window forces farmers to clear their fields with fire, turning potential bioenergy into thick, choking smoke. The damage extends from the atmosphere directly into the home. In rural households relying on gathered biomass for fuel, the daily act of cooking over a traditional mud stove exposes women to severe respiratory risks and hours of exhaustive labor. This widespread mismanagement of organic matter represents both an ecological failure and a missed economic opportunity. Resolving it requires engineering a structural approach to agrarian waste. To build that structure, Odisha has established a verified pipeline goal, reaching 648 tons per day of compressed biogas capacity by 2030. This chart illustrates the financial gravity of that ambition. Pushing 648 tons of capacity online requires $56 million in capital investment. If fully realized, this leads to a projected compressed biogas market valued at roughly $123 million, based on government procurement models. The downstream effects of that capital ripple outward. Models forecast that constructing and operating these facilities, along with managing the feedstock supply chains, will generate nearly 21,000 cumulative job years. These are modeled projections, not measured outcomes. Proving them requires replacing optimism with rigid biochemistry and an unforgiving look at market economics. The mechanism is anaerobic digestion. It breaks down organic substrate through 4 precise stages: hydrolysis, acidogenesis, acetogenesis, and methanogenesis. The volumetric output is predictable. Processing 1 kilogram of fresh cattle dung yields 28 to 40 liters of raw biogas. But raw biogas contains significant carbon dioxide. To reach automotive-grade viability, the gas must be aggressively scrubbed. Only by reaching the strict IS 16087 standard of over 90% methane purity does it become compressed biogas. This is not theoretical chemistry. The Merpali facility in Bhubaneswar processes municipal waste daily, standing as operational proof of concept for the state. The biological transformation of waste into fuel is a scientific certainty, yet the process cannot survive commercially without an artificial legal architecture to protect it. The National SATOT scheme is a structured market enabler, not a risk-free purchase guarantee. It provides a known counterparty and a standard contracting pathway, but the entrepreneur still carries the volume risk. To manage that risk, the financial scaffolding combines central subsidies from the National Bioenergy Program with Odisha's specific state fiscal incentives, which remove land conversion charges and stamp duties for energy projects. Even with those subsidies in place, operational hurdles are structural. Feedstock availability is seasonal. Rice straw, a primary organic input, is only available for a narrow 6 to 8 week window post-harvest, threatening supply continuity. Building the infrastructure to weather those seasonal gaps requires immense capital. Constructing a standard 300-ton per day commercial facility demands an outlay of up to 200 crore rupees, creating a heavy debt burden for first-generation entrepreneurs. Because developers face steep supply cliffs and high debt, subsidies alone are insufficient. They require a comprehensive statewide operating system to maintain industry solvency. The Odisha Biogas Renaissance Framework, or OBRF, targets those exact economic vulnerabilities. It is a 5-pillar policy architecture designed to close the gap between scientific potential and commercial reality. Its operational core is a decentralized hub and spoke model. Village-level pre-processing units gather and break down local waste, which is then transported to centralized purification hubs at the block level, reducing logistical costs. The framework also mandates social equity. The Biogas Entrepreneur Fellowship provides seed capital while integrating women's self-help groups directly into the management of these processing plants. In tribal majority districts like Koraput and Rayagada, where high biomass availability intersects with economic marginalization, the framework directs enterprise development inward. It transforms local populations into energy shareholders. The OBRF serves as a legally enforceable mechanism for rural wealth redistribution and social justice. The final commercial output of this pipeline is pure compressed biogas, functionally interchangeable with natural gas, and injected into the mainstream automotive and industrial fuel grid. But the fuel is only half the equation. The anaerobic cycle leaves behind a secondary material in the reactor, a pathogen-reduced, nutrient-concentrated digestate. Field trials demonstrate that applying this organic digestate can increase crop productivity by 15 to 25% compared to synthetic fertilizers. The byproduct of the energy transition physically returns to the earth, restoring the soil that produced the original biomass. By pairing unyielding biochemistry with precise legal frameworks, Odisha has developed the blueprint to transform a neglected liability into a self-sustaining rural economy.